this joint meeting to order of the Floresville City Council, Floresville FEDC, 4A, and the Parks Advisory Committee. Please rise for our invocation with Bill Gleason.
Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to serve our community. And we realize we have a responsibility along with that opportunity. Lead us, guide us, and help us to make decisions that are good for all people in our fair city. Help us to understand that together we can make very good accomplishments. We can do things for your glory, not ours. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one, indivisible.
Thank you. We do have the Floresville City Council board in attendance. We have Councilwoman Gloria Cantu, myself, Mayor Sissy Gonzalez-Dipple, Councilman Nick Neeson, and Councilman Gerard Jimenez. Thank you. And FEDC, take it away.
We do have a quorum. The name is Ray Lambert. We have with us Executive Tommy Baker. We have Sherry Steele, Fred Gonzalez, and Zahara, and Marisa Jimenez. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Any citizens' comments at this point before we start our update? If not, I will hand it over to Sean or Henrietta.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor, and the Chairman of FEDC. I'm excited. New year, I'm excited, and I'm hoping this project will be moving forward fastly. But I want to do some housekeeping things, if I may, Mayor, if I may. One of the things, I hope everybody has a copy of the youth agreement. That is just a draft agreement that we've been talking about for some time, as we're talking about having this park, participating in the park. So it's just a draft agreement. I'm sharing it today. I don't have anything. We'll talk about filling the blanks later, but I wanted you all to have the template. And then, of course, we always have to talk about money. I know, ugly subject, but we have to talk about money. We have here, the backup is, Sean was nice enough, and thank you so much, and our attorney required for him to break it down into what the city was paying and what EDC was paying, because it's all in one lump sum. I have shared this, and I know the city council has it, as well as EDC. But I did an executive overview. If you see the Heartland Payment and Recreation Payment Summary, it gives the city's allocation, FEDC's allocation, total payments, check number, the dates they were paid, and the total for the project. If you notice on draw 4, I think Sean's fingers hit the wrong key. It's difference about $200, but that is what it is, and we have all the backup reference to that. So to date, we've paid $1,597.17 total. The city's portion has been $660,338, and FEDC's total has been $940,258. And I believe we have some more draws coming because we have not exhausted the $2.4 million. Please remember that there are some fees that are not necessarily associated to Heartland. Engineering fees, surveying fees would not be part of this, but Sean's budget will not exceed, and I have not processed any change orders. So really looking on schedule. I know Sean is the man of the hour, so if you have any questions of me, I'll take them at this time, or Mayor at another time, or FEDC. Great. Then I'd like to introduce Sean from Heartland. He's here to talk about some things. He will be addressing where we are. Our opening day hopefully will be the 24th of March is what our goal is. And also, he's going to talk about some health problems that we're having. But I'll turn it over to Sean.
Good evening. Thanks everybody for coming. I came here mostly with the request of answering questions. So I'll make my presentation, if you call it short and sweet. We are, March 24th is opening day. That's a firm deadline to us. My goal and my hope and the thought of all my construction managers is that we're hoping to get done a good bit before that. That way we have some time for last minute emergencies, punch lists, all that kind of stuff like that. We have on site now essentially everything we need to finish. So that's what we're not waiting for shipping in transit and anything else like that. Things to be made, all that stuff past us, most everything. I'd say 95% of everything we need to do is on site. So I have a crew hitting the location tomorrow. They're here to build the buildings. They're going to finish the batting cage building. They're going to start and finish the concession stand restroom. We've got concrete down there. It looks good. All the plumbing's up, all the electrical's up. We just have to build a building on top of it and frame that thing out. We estimate that to be probably 5 to 6 day job to get that thing complete. After the building's complete, we come in with the stonework guys. We're going to use some local guys here. So I'm going to meet tomorrow morning. We're going to kind of go over the scope of the project, make sure they have what they need and know what we need. If you recall, it's been a while since we've kind of gone over a lot of details. There's, I believe it's 4-foot wainscoting of stone around the outside of the concession restroom building. The sign, which is back here, which is something that's been completed here over the holidays, it has a 6-foot column, basically stone-wrapped column that goes up on either side of that. On the front of those are where your plaques are going to be for your, to I guess, honor the people who made this project happen and other things. So that's kind of where we are. We've got 5 to 6 days of that going on. I've got my dirt guys coming in to finish. Their things to accomplish. Well, their list got a little bit longer once we got assaulted by pigs over the holidays. So they're going to regrade the pig damage is I guess thing number one. They still have to finish cutting the infields and laying all the clay on the infields. That's something we kind of like to do at the very end because we're good at building things with sinking maintenance, and so if you get the dirt down too quick and it sits, then you get weeds and you get things that inundate the dirt. So we like to get that down kind of at the very last. That way it's ready to till, ready for your association, your maintenance people to work on. But they're going to finish cutting the infields, lay the red dirt down. We've got foul poles up, and so we come in from those foul poles, lay out the bases, put the tags in for the extra bases. Building the fields, building the little details on the fields is kind of the next thing on their list after they get done with the building. The windscreen, the top rail, finishing out the dugout buildings, bleachers, all things like that. The pigs have been a big topic of conversation since I've been down here, and I'll address the things that I know because I know the questions are coming, so I'll answer the questions to the best of my ability, and y'all can ask me to expound on that later as needed. We managed to get a long time before the pigs. We knew the pigs were down there, right? We knew that we were building a perfect environment for pigs to come and root and dig with a big flat spot with nice soft ground and fresh grass growing. That's a favorite location of pigs. A couple of things that I know we've done projects. We've had this issue come up. These pigs are all cover the whole state of Texas, and so we've been in other places where we've been nearby creek bed, bodies of water, and we get pigs come up and inundated. The number one thing in our experience, similar to what you guys have going on in the existing park in Nevada, is human foot traffic. Right? We smell different than pigs. If we get kids playing baseball out there, people popping popcorn, lights turning on, cars slamming, people being around the area as we get into the baseball season, that's the number one kind of deterrent is human foot traffic. That, of course, can't happen until we're playing ball on that, so until then, we kind of have to do some things to help mitigate it. Beyond that, the lights burning at night help. The pigs, they're smart critters, and so if we make it uncomfortable for them, they tend to go away. Y'all could have really persistent feral pigs. Y'all know more about your pigs than I do, and they might not care about any of that stuff. We're exploring a fencing option. We're looking at doing, hoping to get priced out. That will be able to go into this project. We've got some space and some different budgets that we can tweak to get some field fencing around the perimeter fence that is the perimeter fence kind of going straight back where The chain link fence ends on the current park area down there, kind of picking up from that point, going up to the corner and then coming back around. You know, that's going to help some. We're going to extend that. We're going to close the wagon spoke. You know, here's our creek. Here's where our pigs tend to want to come up from. From here to here, we close, and that's another deterrent. We can put up deterrents, and we intend on putting up as many deterrents as we can. You can't pig-proof fields. I mean, that we can deter them, and we can try and make it uncomfortable for them. Another thing that we've discussed is the idea of trapping. Maybe, you know, my recommendation was, and all of you good folks on boards and city council that know people and are you know, longtime citizens here, the city needs to, in my opinion, you know, collaborate with an individual, a couple of individuals that are reputable, that are trustworthy, that are trappers, that run dogs, that can get out there and make life uncomfortable for these pigs, especially through construction. That gets a little more difficult once it's in operation, but now when it's essentially a construction zone, there's not kids running around and stuff, that would be another thing that could be done. Clearing up brush around the edges, which goes hand in hand with putting the field fence on the exterior fence, kind of take that brush out. If you take your cover away, they like to get out and be able to run back in the cover. So if you make it, you know, if you look at the next field over in the beautiful ranch that's behind us, he doesn't have any pig problems. They don't have anywhere to hide. You know, they might stray in there every once in a while and dig a little bit, but you know, with lack of brush, you tend to deter pigs. I am no pig expert. I'll preface that with that. I've been dealing with them all my life, like most of us have. We've been on some projects that we've had issues with, and they typically tend to get better with some of these measures. We can talk with the Parks and Wildlife people. I'll make a phone call to them and to, you know, the game wardens and different people, and just get opinions on any other measures that they can do. There was somebody communicated with about that they've had this issue at the golf course downriver or upriver, and they have something they treat their greens with. It keeps the pigs off the greens. They still get in the fairways. I don't know what that is. I'll do a little research into figuring out what they're treating their greens with, and if it's non-toxic and safe for children, then that's another thing to look at. What's that?
I told him, tell him, he lived over the golf course.
You know what the stuff is? I'm not familiar.
Mike McCarthy does, but I know it works. Wherever they spray it, you don't have no pig.
Okay.
They don't spray it, they get right up to it.
Okay.
And they just be spraying the heck out of
And
it.
if it's something that works okay with kids, it's definitely something I would be worth looking at. Okay, well
We're
that's,
having an epidemic at the golf course too.
yeah, they're everywhere. Yeah, they're bad. And I think we had a lot of rain this year, and they pushed some of them up out of the lower ground up into the higher ground. And they're cyclical, and you know, where I live in Northeast Texas, we have pigs on pigs. We have pigs riding each other around. We have millions and millions of pigs. So I find them at home. So this feels like another day in the office dealing with pigs. So, you know, those are kind of, you know, the items to finish to get us to 324. You know, I have a target date in mind that I'm working with my staff with, which is a good bit before that. That way we have time to go through final details and stuff. You know, like I say, the having things on site, having crews back on, we have our subs. We hit some little bumps, and we lost some subs because they had to go find work. We couldn't keep them consistent enough, and so they had to go on and do something else. Everybody's back on site now, and good guys. All of them, I've said this before, we've had a few of these meetings before. They're usually not this formal. Usually we're sitting at a table, but tonight I get to stand at the podium. But you know, I've said to the smaller group, I'll say to the larger group, they're good, hard-working people here. We've been very happy with the subs and the quality of work that we've gotten. The responsiveness, the willingness to work with us through some of these little bumps in the road that we've hit. There's a lot of places I could work and a lot of crews I could work with that I'd never find. They'd never pick up the phone again. But whenever I call them, we're ready to get back on track. They pick up the phone, they get back to work. That's admirable. Good work ethic, good folks here. Floresville is not just construction workers, but it's a good city. It's a good place. I thoroughly enjoyed my time here. It's a beautiful city, and there's a lot of really good people here. It's been a pleasure to work around.
Sean,
Yes.
is it possible that you could point out what part is going to be the grant for the next phase?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Because there is some opening, I think, one of the football fields, and if you could
Yeah,
point out,
point out.
and just for the board and the public, we've started our first step, so they're doing the archaeological dig, actually they started today, which is required to protect this wildlife, and then the sign comes up, and then we can start on the grant phase of it. We haven't acquired a person to do that, but Sean was with us when we helped to do the application, so he can explain which part is grant phase 1 and that we're doing right now and what's coming in the next phase. Thank you, Sean.
Yeah, and so, yeah, I met those guys on site this morning and got them started, they had a couple of questions for me. They're digging 50 holes, 2 feet deep, looking for pottery and arrowheads and bones and anything, artifacts that they might could find. We stopped by, probably about 3 o'clock this afternoon, somewhere in that neighborhood, asked them if they found any arrowheads. They said they have found nothing. They don't expect to find anything, but they're going to continue to dig. They do 50 holes, spot holes. They have a little sifter. They dig the dirt out, sift it out, look for everything, fill the hole back in. I think they do 2 trenches. I'm not sure. They're a little deeper. They get down a little bit deeper. The trenches are more looking for, dinosaur bones, really old things, and they don't expect. My understanding and talking to people who've been around here for a long time is that field back there around that tree was a peanut field for a long time. If there was any artifacts on the surface, they've been tilled up or somebody picked them up, threw them in the river, or put them in they're sitting on mantle. I don't think with disturbing the ground like that, there shouldn't be a lot of stuff. So as it relates to the grant, so what happened when the city was working on the grant and they were working with Langford Associates, a grant firm from Austin, good folks, and they do a really good job. Got the grant, which in and of itself deserves applause. It's really hard to get. It's super competitive. I think they get. I mean, my guesstimation would be they have to get thousands of applications every year. They approve 12 or 13?
13.
13. I think y'all are like the 3rd highest scored grant in the whole state. That deserves some commitment. And so when they were doing that, our park that we're building now was pretty much finished. I mean, all designed. We had given final budgets and everything was ready to go. And the grant people came in, and what they needed to do, the grant, not to go into too much detail, but the grant's based on a point system. And so that y'all, the community, did a survey. I think the EDC funded the survey. Y'all did a survey for your parks master plan. And in the parks master plan, when it came to your house or when you got it or however the words you wrote on there, we need a splash pad, we need a dog park or whatever you put on there, and they take those numbers and filter them up, and that sets the score. And so everything that they get in the top 5, I think it was 5 or 10, that is something that the citizens need, you get more points, and that helps you to get the grant. So what she did was she plucked things out of this project and put them onto the grant, okay? And that's been something that's been a little confusing, I think, to a lot of people throughout this process. Why aren't you starting on that? This field here, the second football field, is on the grant project. The playground is on the grant project. The small concession restroom that serves the football field area is on the grant project. I think that's everything.
Yeah, then you go across to the other side.
Oh, there's a million things down there. Yeah, I mean, down on the other side, you have picnic areas, a splash pad, some renovations, full restroom renovation on the large pavilion, some smaller renovations on the smaller pavilion, demo in the fields, making the one field that's left, the one that faces the pool, is going to remain. It's going to be made to look like the other fields that we're building here, so there's kind of continuity throughout all the fields. An amphitheater, outdoor amphitheater.
And you just mentioned splash pads. I know Councilman Neeson, that was your question about the recycling the water and the splash pad. That was
Yeah,
definitely.
it is a recycling splash pad, and it was specified that. And that's the thing about the grant, is that when you go through all these obstacles to get the grant, when you get the grant, it's still kind of a nightmare because they have so many restrictions on it. And so their deal is you have to build everything you said you were going to build exactly the way you said you were going to build it. So if it said recirculating splash pad system as it did in the grant, that's what you got to build. If you come out, if somebody, say somebody said, we could do a to waste for, $70,000 less, which you can, and if the state comes out and sees that, I don't know who they're going to throw in jail or if they're going to take, I don't know what they do, but it's something heinous. I'm sure.
We're going to build this.
Yes.
I have a question on the amphitheater. what kind of electrical system are you gonna have there?
It has a pretty severe electrical system in it. It does. It has a lot of stuff. We built a few of them before, and the electrical system is always inadequate. When you're having outdoor performances and running PAs and amps and stuff, that sucks a ton of power. So there's a healthy budget in there to get electrical in there.
Okay, how many people would that area hold for?
In the amphitheater area, you know, the amphitheater is kind of a raised, elevated. It's a wood top. It's a real handsome building that they have. It's kind of a laminated wood that it's made out of. It has a stage, and then the people sit outside. So it's all the people sit on the ground, on picnic chair, you know, on folding chairs. Yeah, whatever they bring. So it's truly is an outdoor area.
And, but give or take, how many people would put in that area?
A lot of people. I would think that would not be unreasonable. And kind of that's one thing that has to be finalized into construction with the grant project is where exactly does that thing need to be? I think the consensus at this point, and the consensus can change because it's not final, but what people have indicated to me what they think would work the best. My site plan, which y'all have seen, a lot of y'all have seen from the grant, it has it located up kind of back towards 97. It's going to be noisy up there. The good thing about the grant is you don't have to build it where you said you were going to build it. You just have to build it, right? And so I think a lot of folks we've had in some of these committee meetings we've done, the idea of as you go down to the river, and there's kind of the big island, it's kind of like a elongated oval that you have to drive around to get back up down in that area to put it down in there, where there's big pecan trees, big oak trees, shade and stuff like that.
And I don't know if I can ask this question, but the reason I was asking about that is because I think we're trying to move the city forward where we could bring in some bands and stuff for outdoor concerts and stuff. And I guess that's maybe the next meeting or whatever. We're trying to move forward and utilizing the area to not only for baseball but for concerts, outdoor concerts.
And it will definitely be able to facilitate that. Absolutely, yes, sir. The way it's designed and built, you can have concerts, good-sized events out there. Absolutely, yes, ma'am.
So Sean, so what we're going to have ready by the 24th of March are basically the fields. Is that
Well,
correct?
what we're going to have ready by the deadline is everything but this one football field, the playground, and that little concession stand. Everything else will be finished. Yes, that's correct.
Amphitheater and all that?
No, that's on the grant project. That's
Anything in the grant
won't be finished. That's correct. We can't start, even if we wanted to. And if you look up here, we have this field here that's scraped out and doing its thing. And this field right here is untouched. We couldn't disturb the ground until these guys who were started today could do their artifact hunt and see what they found. Yes, sir.
If there's any ideas or changes that maybe somebody might bring forward, you know, and where we put the feed or whatever, you said you're able to possibly put it in that location, or that's a set location already?
We put it wherever we want.
Yeah,
Wherever you guys agree is the
Yes,
best
on
place.
the grant side, we did kind of like collages, like we'd like to have this and this, and just place them where we thought was good, because we didn't want to spend a lot of time in detail because we know we get the grant. And so as we go to the next phase, we have to acquire somebody to help us finish designing this and to go into the detail, and so that's what's going to be important for us to do. But the Texas, while they work a little slow, and so it looks like USDA. But so the first phase now that they are going to do the archaeological dig, once they get a pass on that, and thank you, Mr. Gleason, for signing the paperwork, because 4A still owns the property, even though they leased it to us. He had to sign off for us to do the dig. Once we get past Maine, hopefully don't find any Indian bones or anything like that, because it has happened. They're buried up front. Then we can move on to the next phase and fine tune the design, and we will acquire someone to help us to fine tune the design, and then we'll go ahead and do the construction. However, again, Sean help us get that grant and help us get all the points that we can do going forward. And so I'm looking forward to putting that together, and so we can talk about where you want to do this in the walking path. Sarah is done with their portion. I don't know if anybody's been down there. Sarah has finished their portion. But if I can squeeze in a little bit of news for everybody, at your last meeting, and you'll hear this officially tomorrow night, TxDOT had come and invited everybody and asked the city council to consider closing the park entrance because of the construction. And they are on the agenda for tomorrow night. However, they have notified us through email that they are rescinding their request. And so that initial entrance will remain open, which is good. So thank you so much for holding the line. And so we won't have to close our entrance. We do have a transition, but it's not the major road that we had anticipated. And so that will be remaining open, and so we don't have to deal with that part, and it won't trip us up when we talk about going forward. So that was some really good news. Monica ran down the hall to tell me I wanted to say, get it in writing, and they did say that they're not even coming to the meeting because they saying they're no longer asking for that.
And y'all, I know y'all have Parks Board Committee members and attendance. Y'all will be the most important people in Floresville at that point, because I'm sure a lot of the final decision making will route through the Parks Board, because that's what you guys do, is say what you want to do in your park. So
The only thing that they did say, Ted Scott did say, was that possibly having to make the entrances to the center here bigger, because there would be lanes there, but not where they initially thought.
Yeah, that would be better.
Yeah, so, but they would come back and let us know if that was going to be necessary.
Especially, we're gonna have any concerts or whatever.
Yeah.
We can make maybe this interest maybe a little bit bigger, or they could.
They said if it was necessary and they decided to have a turning lane or something, the concern was mainly coming from Pleasanton this way. So if it needs to be bigger, then they would do that.
And there is a road in the grant project that connects the existing park to the new park. It was never intended to be a main thoroughfare. We were looking like it was going to be, so we were trying to figure out how to get that thing built in such a way to handle the primary access and traffic into your park. But that's good news. But the road still will be there. So like what you say, when you have your amphitheater, when you're having events, if you're having big events up here, if you're having big events down there, the two parking lots will be tied together with both pedestrian and vehicle traffic. So it ties both the existing and the new park all together. So that'll be a nice thing. And also one of the things that we kind of got in the project on the grant project, and that helped it a little bit, is that when you tie this parking lot at the existing park and you can go all the way up, you basically have the better part of a 3/4 of a mile walking trail. If you start at the parking lot, walk up to the park, walk in, walk around the park, walk back in. Yeah, so you've got another walking trail kind of by proxy through there, which is nice. So that's, I guess we're in questions. That's kind of all that I had to report. I'm open for questions.
Sean, what is the timeline for the grant? Do you have any idea?
The best that I know of is that the young men that were doing the survey today said they thought that was going to take them 2 weeks. So they'll be 2 weeks in doing the survey, and assuming that they don't find anything and that doesn't extend their work down there, then they'll come back and 2 weeks for that, and then I know Ms. Turner knows there's probably paperwork you have to file after that with the state. I think earliest maybe, I don't know, in the middle of next month would be probably the earliest that really you could make a move on that because you'll have met all your requirements with the state.
How about your completion
My completion?
of that phase, of the grant phase?
I estimate that to probably be about a 4-month project down there, is what I estimate on it.
One other quick question, George, I'd ask you about how many people that actually enrolled? You said 1 to 2,000. Is it 1 or is it 2?
I don't have a perfectly good answer. I mean, it's not a seating situation. So basically it's, the amphitheater lays itself out in an open fashion. And so it's skinny in the back and it opens up in the front. It's covered to protect the performers. And then depending on where we position that thing, where exactly on the park it goes, the best thing to do is to have it in a low spot and have the ground sloping up in front of it. That way you can seat people out there. So, really you're limited to how many people can get in here and park and get out there and sit in the grass. I don't have a real good number for that, but it would be a lot.
There's no seats.
Yeah. There's no seats, it's just grass.
This body count is how many pitches?
My guess, I would say 1,000 people probably reasonable. Now you got to park them, and so I think your threshold on that is between.
There's folks upstanding.
Oh yeah, you can park a lot of people out here. That's true.
It's in here, that's with seats and everything else.
Is in here.
So, I don't know the magnitude of it.
You could fit as many people as you want. That would be my best answer to that question. I mean, you know, until you fill up the grass out there and people get so far away they can't hear anymore, which I've been to some outdoor festivals and I have not been able to hear, but I paid and stood out there anyway. So, you know, it's, that's.
Cold beer.
And drank beer and leaned on a tree or whatever, but it's,
And
you know.
speaking of beer, our last 4A meeting, the town of Caldwell is looking into